Welcome back to this already, the final segment of today's Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. We're going to spend some time talking to Ronald Hamburger, Senior Principal and Head of Structural Engineering for a company called SJH, which stands for Simpson, Gumpertz, and Heger. How are you, sir? Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kevin. I'm great.
Glad to have you on. Let me ask you something. I'm looking at your photo. I'm assuming that you were around about the same time as Ronald McDonald was, and I was curious as to how that must have been growing up.
Well, actually, I had the misfortune to grow up in New York, and it was pretty miserable.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was telling my producer before we began the segment that I'm seeing like a case for Child Protective Services on this name with a name like that. So I can only imagine that I guess you had to learn to laugh at yourself pretty young at life.
I did.
Well, we're glad you figured out how to navigate through childhood and have a very successful career as an adult. Talk a little bit about what your firm does.
Okay, well, we are a 500-person engineering firm. We provide engineering of structures and building enclosures. We do design, we investigate problems with these things, and we also design repairs and rehabilitation for these structures. We do engineering for almost anything you can think of, from single-family homes to high-rise office buildings. We do work in petroleum refineries and chemical plants, nuclear power plants. We do engineering of piers and wharves, and we also do construction engineering, where we help contractors actually build things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have any connections here in Texas?
Well, we've been doing work for a number of years in Texas, particularly for some of the petrochemical companies headquartered in Houston. One of our specialties is designing structures for extreme loads, including blast, fire, earthquake, hurricane, and tornadoes.
Very interesting. What is going on? I don't know if you heard about this case here, and it's really not within your domain space, I don't think, vertical-wise quite. It's a little different. But we had an incident here about a week or two ago where a school bus went off a freeway and crashed, and the guardrail on that bus on that freeway was from like 50 years ago, which they said played a role. And although it was compliant in the early 1960s when it was made, it wasn't compliant in the 21st century. And the issues that could bring up. And I sit there and I look at that, and then I literally need front end work, and I just don't have the time to go in on my car because of potholes that are out there that are a real constant problem that we see all the time out there. But it seems like infrastructurally wise and engineering wise, America has a lot of issues.
Well, we do. In fact, the American Society of Civil Engineers has been posting on an annual basis a report card on America's infrastructure, including our bridges, highways, pipelines that bring water to our communities. And they've been giving us about a D on that for the last 10 years. Yeah,
I could believe that. And so I'm just, it's interesting to see what our current state of affairs in that area. So do you primarily get involved in the initial building and development of these infrastructures, or are you primarily in a consulting role into making sure that they're in compliance and the best that they could be? Kind of talk a little bit about how you work with businesses.
Sure. Well, we work, about a third of our work is design of new facilities. A third of our work is around investigation of problems of existing facilities, like the highway accident you referred to a few minutes ago. And a third of our work is actually fixing problems of existing facilities. And we work for a wide range of clients, everything from developers to owners of existing buildings to government agencies.
Mm-hmm. I notice here that you have offices here in Houston. How long have you had offices here?
Well, actually, our Houston office just opened Monday of this week.
Got it. That might explain why you're on the program today.
It might.
And so talk a little bit, give us an overview of your type of clientele and the verticals that you work with. Start off by telling us what percentage of it is government versus business.
Well, our government clients are a small fraction of our total business. We actually do about $100 million a year in business right now, and of that, maybe about 15% of it is for government agencies. It's government agencies at all levels, states, cities, and federal, but it's a relatively small part of what we do. Most of our work is for either developers of new construction or owners of existing construction. And that ranges to everything from individuals who might be wanting or having a problem with a home to Fortune 500 corporations.
Mm-hmm. And you're working now in the Houston office?
We are.
You personally?
Well, I'm actually commuting. My home office is in San Francisco. Spending some time here and some time in Houston.
Got it. Who heads up your Houston office?
That's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Paul Summers, who's actually been located in Houston for about 15 years. Very happy to have him joining us from another firm.
Oh, very good. Well, congratulations on that. Talk a little bit about what your expectations are. What motivated you, especially now? Things are kind of weird with our economy. Obviously, we have an amazing economy. It continues to be robust. We continue to attract people from many industries outside of energy. But energy, as you well know, has taken a beating. What has made Houston all of a sudden worthy of an office?
Well, I do know that. We've actually had our eye on a location in Texas for a number of years. What made this the right time was that Dr. Summers and some of his staff from his former employer became available, which made it attractive for us to go to Houston at this time. While we're hoping that we will develop a robust business in the energy sector, our firm does far more than that, and we're hoping that we'll be able to do business in all of our areas, from design of residential and commercial structures to work on highway structures to work on piers and wharves. We're hoping we can export all of that work to this new office.
Well, I hope you can as well. I hope that we wish you well. I personally love seeing businesses move to the Houston area, and I totally understand why. Energy is just a small part of that impact in that scenario, that attraction, if you will. We have a great regulatory, great tax environment, and a really friendly, unapologetically friendly attitude towards business, which is one of the reasons why I think Houston is awesome. So I'm delighted to be able to, chat with you about that. By the way, the website, sgh.com. That's sgh.com. Any final thoughts before we let you go here this morning?
No, Kevin, I appreciate you having me on. We look forward to a great association with Houston and Greater Texas and hope to be talking with you again in the future.
Yeah, we would like that as well. By the way, check it out again, sgh.com. And again, our guest today, Ronald Hamburger, enjoyed it very much.
All right, bye now.
All right, when we come back tomorrow, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here can be found over there at usdatareview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. Have a great day. Spend it wisely on this station.